Well, you know that's not true because she's in the kitchen making chocolate chip cookies for you. Then he tells you another thing that you know for a fact is not true. Yeah, your sister's really pretty. You don't have a sister. So he goes on to tell you 3 more things that you know aren't true. Then he tells you 5 more things that are, quite frankly, unbelievable. That he co-wrote songs with Elvis. That he actually built a spaceship, went to the moon and back without anybody else on the planet knowing about it. And 3 more things that are unbelievable. Knowing that he gave you 5 things that you know are false. And you don't know this person. He's anonymous. Would you or anyone on the planet in their right mind believe the 5 unbelievable things that he said? No. Because he's giving you unbelievable things at face value. Unbelievable things would require a super strong body of evidence. But not only that, he's already proven himself to be unreliable. And this is the heart of the matter. This is where I want to go. I want to show that if you build a case for the resurrection using these documents, then I'm going to go look at these documents and I'm going to chop down the tree at the root. These documents are not reliable, and that's where I'm going to go. And that's why I'm willing to give you as much time as you want to make a more overarching case, so I can look at some specifics involving the reliability of the very documents on which all of this is based. Because quite frankly, the Teledot issue and the Babylonian Talmud and all this stuff, they're so far removed from ground zero that we can't view them as a reliable source of what happened at ground zero, because they're simply going to be so many hundreds of years removed that they are simply talking about what the documents claimed happened. It's like, now I know what Mormonism is, but it doesn't mean I was there, and you know what I'm saying. So I want to address the reliability of the very documents from which we get all of this, and that's the Gospels, Acts, and the Epistles, namely Paul. So now I would turn it back over to you and let you make your strongest case overall, and then I want to talk about some more stuff, and then I'll turn it back over to you. How's that sound? I'm just telling you what my brain is doing.
Yeah, I think that sounds fine. I guess I can just move on to the sources of where I'm getting my information. You know, what you were talking about just now about how you wanted to attack the very sources I am getting my information from and my arguments from, what I'm arguing for concerning the resurrection of Jesus. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the classic passage in 1 Corinthians 15:3-7, where we see that Paul is passing on a tradition from Peter the Apostle and James the brother of Jesus. This is really the meat of my argument. And
excuse me.
We know that Peter. Go ahead.
No, I was just doing another one of those pizza things. That's why I said excuse me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I see.
It's just, you know.
Now, yeah, I see. Well, okay. Basically, the reason I'm saying that Paul received a tradition from Peter the Apostle and James the brother of Jesus concerning the resurrection is because we know that Paul, first of all, went to Jerusalem to visit Peter and James in 32 AD, which is evident from his claims in the book of Galatians 1:18-19. And he went to Jerusalem in order to factually investigate, which is what the Greek word historio implies. And basically, what would he be factually investigating if it wasn't the teaching of the apostles? He's the new convert to Christianity, and he would be going to meet the apostles to factually investigate their claims. I think that makes sense. And therefore, the time he received the information concerning the factual investigation of the teachings of the apostles would be back, when he went to visit Peter and James at Jerusalem in 35 or 37 AD, whenever you want to place the date. But it's back in the 30s sometime. And he's writing 1 Corinthians in the 50s. So whether or not he received this from Peter and James really doesn't matter that much, but it's probable. He knew the other apostles, and if he's teaching something that is contrary to the tradition of the apostles and contrary to what they actually taught, then he wouldn't be. He would definitely be rejected by the other apostles. And therefore, what we would find in 1 Corinthians 15, 3 through 7 is basically the teachings of the apostles, what the apostles claimed concerning the resurrection, as well as death of Jesus Christ. Now, in 1 Corinthians 15, 3 through 7, we find that it says that Jesus died, he was buried, and then he rose again and appeared to countless people. And there's a particular appearance that I want to focus on in the Creed, and that is to what he called the 12. At the time, it was really just the 11, because Judas had died, but they were still known as the 12 because that was their social title, basically. And while there are other appearances listed in this creed, I feel that the appearance listed to the 12 is more wise to focus on, only for the sake of time, if you understand what I'm saying. We know that 1 Corinthians 15, 3 through 7 is a primitive creed, and it reflects the traditions of the apostles. So the apostles had claimed to see Jesus alive after death. And if we take this along with the fact that Jesus died, was buried, and then his gravesite was found empty, as I argued for, based on what the Jews had affirmed later and had tried to argue, then I think these facts need to be explained. And I don't think they can be properly explained unless you assert that the resurrection of Jesus occurred. And remember, these facts are the death of Christ, the burial of Christ, the fact that Jesus' gravesite was found empty, and the fact that people, his followers, had claimed to see him alive after death. I think these facts need to be explained, and they can only be explained, in my mind, plausibly by the resurrection of Jesus occurring. And I'm aware that there are many alternate hypotheses out there. A lot of people try to say that Paul didn't believe in a spiritual resurrection. A lot of people like to say that, well, the apostles were just lying, and a lot of people like to say that they were just hallucinating, that they saw Jesus. And I have answers prepared to each one of these counter explanations, and I'm prepared to offer these answers if Truthsurge feels the need to bring them up. So basically, that's a case for why I think the resurrection of Jesus occurred in a nutshell. That's very concise, and I know that there's going to, I know that there's going to need to be a lot of clarification, which is why we're going to have this debate. So I think pretty much that's all I wanted to say for now. So I'll just let Truthsurge come on the mic here.